Hey guys, how's it going? We have got some cleanup to do today. I'm going to be working on this side of the garden that desperately needs some help today. I've been neglecting it. I've been putting it off. So the plan is just to get it cleaned up. I don't think I'm going to do any planting in this bed, but I do need to do some cleanup in it. So 0 planting is happening, but I've got weeds I need to pull. I've got things that are coming up that I have no clue why they're coming up. And then I would like to do a little bit of planting in the garden. So I've got some cat's pajama nepeta, and I have a Russian sage that I want to get planted today. And then if I have time, I think I'm going to pot up one of the bad hair day mangave that I've got. I'm either going to do the bad hair day mangave or I'm going to do the lavender lady. So one of the two is going to get potted up today. Very minimal planting is happening today, but it will be nice to get this bed cleaned up. Let me show you this bed, show you what I'm working with, which is a mess. So this is the side yard here, and I mean, you can see there's lots of leaves. It's just looking rough right now. I have a random rose. I need to pull that. That was not supposed to come up. I used to have a rose there, and I guess I missed part of the roots, and it just decided to come back up. I've got these pink moly grasses. I'm going to pull them. They've never looked good since I planted them, so we're going to pull those out today. I'd rather just go in with something that is going to look better. I don't know, that just looks like a mess. I hate that so much. So those are going to come out today. I've got some random daffodils that are going to get pulled. I have a bunch of cyclamen. That's all going to stay. A little bit of cleanup. You can see all of the leaves. I've got privet seedlings coming up. I've got weeds coming up everywhere. My irises are blooming, so that's super exciting. This is the first year that they've really bloomed, and they actually have a ton more blooms coming. So this is really, really exciting, and I'm loving this color. I have no clue which variety it is. I bought this maybe 4 years ago, and this is the first year that it's actually doing something for me, but it's really, really pretty to see. The insides of it, too, are really, really pretty, so very happy to see that blooming. And then over here, I have some Dusty and Miller that wintered over. Too much shade, so I'm going to pull it. Lots of privet, lots of random little things. I've got a gardenia called Pillow Talk. I'm just going to do a little cleanup around it. So lots of just cleanup in this bed and get it looking not like that, because that's not the vibe. I also need to do this side of the garden, but I think I'm going to leave this for a different day. I need to come in, clean up all the privet leaves that have fallen, and I've got a random tulip that I need to pull that, and a couple more random tulips. But it just really needs a good cleanup. And then when we order mulch, I'll come in and I'll mulch everything, and everything will look really, really nice. I've also got a couple more hostas that I want to add into this area. But like I said, that's a project for another day. That's not for today, Robbie, to do. So the hostas do really well here because they get dappled sun throughout the day, and then in the afternoon they get shade, so they do really, really well in this area. I'm not working on this side today. I'm just focusing over on this side right here. So let me go ahead and get this all cleaned up, and then I'll show you guys some of the plants that I want to get in. I'll show you the nepeta and the Russian sage, and I'll show you the mangave after we get this cleaned up. Keep putting this side of the garden on back burner. Like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. It needs to just happen today. So we're going to just get it all cleaned up and looking decent, because this is the main walkway that we use. We come through this pretty much multiple times a day. So I want this to look decent, at least cleaned up. Let's go. that looks so much better. All cleaned up. No more little seedlings. Lots of leaves gone all the way down. And I think we're gonna get some of these planted in here today. We are. We're definitely gonna do it. So I've got 5 hostas. I'm not sure they'll all fit in here. I might be able to only get 3 of them in here, but this is called Echo the Sun, and it only gets about 19 inches tall. So it's medium-sized growing hosta, not super large or anything. And then it wants partial sun to shade. And for us, really, it's best if they just get dappled sun and then they get shade. And this area is pretty much gonna get dappled sun. I mean, you can see it's all shade right now. It's about noon. And then at the end of the day, it's gonna get dappled sun down low. I've got 1 hosta right there. It does beautifully for us all summer long, and it gets lots of water in here. So I'm thinking I'm gonna put 1 there, 1 there, and then I'm gonna tuck 1 back in there. So I'll have 3 of them in this bed. And then up above, this whole area gets full sun. And you can see like there's no leaves on the rows, and then there's lots of leaves because this area does get a bit more shade. So I think the hostas will do really well down there. And then these hostas are growing zones 3 through 9. I think I forgot to say that. So 3 through 9, they want a decent amount of water. And then I have these heucherella right here. These are called Fun and Games I Spy. They get 8 to 10 inches tall and probably about 12 inches wide, so a little bit wider. And I liked the color of these with a little bit of red in them. I thought that was really nice. And then the bloom spikes are really pretty on these, very bright pink. These guys also want part shade to full shade, and this is pretty much gonna get full shade. I have 3 of them, and I think I'm just gonna like kind of dapple them in the very front right here, do all 3 of them in one spot. And then these guys are hardy in zones 4 through 9, and they get about 10 inches tall and about 12 inches wide. And then their bloom spikes do get even taller than that, but they have a beautiful bright pink, like a bubblegum pink color of bloom spikes, and they bloom for week after week. So long blooming on these guys, which I'm really excited about. Some of them only bloom for usually a week or so, but I'm really excited about it. And I just think that the like color variants on these are just gonna play really, really nicely together. And then we'll have different texture of foliar growth. And I like these ones too, because you can see the new starts out like a little more green, and then they fade to this like yellow color with like green veining almost. So I just think that this is gonna be really pretty and add a bit of pop of color down low that we need. So let's go ahead and go get those planted. You can see it's dappled sun all right now. It's starting to get to that sunny point in this bed, so I wanna get these all in before it gets too sunny. I do desperately need to come in and I need to wind up this clematis that I've got. It's Clematis armandii. And during the growing season, it just grows like a weed. So I really need to get that wound up, but that's not happening today. Brent and I are gonna do it. We'll do it on a different day, but it definitely needs to happen. I've got wire ran everywhere, so this thing can just go however it wants to go. But yeah, I'm slacking on that. I think that that's gonna be really nice. So I am gonna do all 3 of the heuchera here. They'll be spaced out more evenly. And then I'll have 2 hostas in the back there, and then 1, 2, 3. And that'll lend to a little more color around the rows, and just, I don't know, I think it'll look better. That kind of just was always a little bit of a dead spot back there. And I know that that one's gonna thrive because that area stays really wet. So those 2 should totally thrive. These ones should do really well. These ones I'm hoping do quite well. They're probably gonna get just a tinge more sun than they like, but they still should do totally fine. If I see them starting to wilt, I will run a little extra irrigation to them. And then if they're still continuing to wilt, then I will go ahead and move them. But it's gonna be a little bit of a testing the water, because this is kind of a hard area for me. that looks a million times better. We've got beautiful pop of green in here with a little bit of red on it. The bloom spikes are going to be so stunning. And when the bloom spikes die back, those hostas back there are really going to stand out and really shine. I don't know. I'm very, very happy with it. I couldn't be happier. So I love that. Love that this side is cleaned up. Still need to come over here and clean up this side. That is for a different day, though. That is not for today. I've got one more plant I'm going to get in the ground, and it is none of the plants I even told you about, I don't think. So I still need to do all the cleanup. I mean, cut back the daffodils. These ones never even bloomed. I have such a hard time getting daffodils to rebloom for some reason. They're just like tulips for me. There's only certain varieties that really rebloom for me. Oh, also, look. This right here is a Brunnera, and it's variegated. Isn't that so cool? I wasn't sure if this one would come back for me. I planted it last year, and it came back, and it looks so good. I'm really, really happy that it came back. I love the leaves on these. Aren't those magical? They're so cool. The white will eventually turn brown. Most variegated plants, the whites don't always live the longest. So I'm expecting midsummer these to look atrocious, but I will really enjoy them all spring. They stay a little bit shorter and they get very short little blooms. Maybe next year they'll be a bit larger. I planted these last summer, and so for them to come back, I'm really pleasantly surprised. And maybe next year they will put on a ton more growth, and maybe I'll get even more blooms out of them. But I really do love Brunnera, and to find this variegated variety was really, really interesting. So back to this side, it looks really good. It's nice and cleaned up. We've got the hostas tucked back there, so it'll be a nice little pop of color, and they'll come up to about here-ish at maturity once they get in, and then they will get bloom spikes. I tend to leave them. They don't really do anything for me, but hummingbirds seem to really love hosta blooms, so I leave them. They're the perfect shape for hummingbirds. Anything tubular shaped, hummingbirds tend to really love, so I'll leave them and I'll let the hummingbirds enjoy them, and then when they start to look even slightly spent, then I'll go ahead and pop off all of the flowers. I try not to leave them if I don't have to, but I do leave them for the hummingbirds. But the rest of this bed looks fabulous. I've got a hydrangea that I transplanted late fall, early winter, doing absolutely beautiful. I'm so happy that that one made it. I wasn't sure it was going to, but it's put on so much growth, so I'm hoping I get a nice big hydrangea right there. And then I got to figure out what I'm doing with all of this empty space right here. So like I said, this is kind of a hard bed for me. It's 1:30 right now, and you can see this is in shade, and that stays pretty true. And so it's only going to get sun. It's going to get full sun in about half hour. This will be in full sun, and then it's only going to be in sun until maybe 5 o'clock. So it's going to get 4 hours of full sun, and it gets the worst sun. It gets the hottest afternoon sun. So trying to find something that can handle 4 hours of hot afternoon sun is really, really hard. If you have suggestions, please let me know, because I've struggled with this area for a very, very long time. Like I said, 4 hours, hot afternoon sun, and it needs to be able to handle 115 degrees, because that's what hits this area. So if you have a suggestion, let me know. Let me show you what else I want to get planted today. The very last thing that we're going to do. The very last thing that I want to get planted, and ignore that I'm showing you my air conditioner, is this Kintzley Ghost Honeysuckle. And this has been a plant, I saw it last year, and I had to find it this year, and I'm so glad I found it. I found it at Ace Hardware in Gridley, California. So if you're local, they've got them there. I did pay $43 for it, so kind of an expensive plant, but I think it's so worth it. It's new to the market. I think it came out last year, or it came to market this year. It's a non-invasive honeysuckle, and what makes it so cool is it's not like your typical honeysuckle. It's got these saucer-like leaves, and then these clusters of blooms come out of it, and they're yellow blooms. And I just love the saucer type leaves, and they're blue. They're so pretty. It's a full sun lover, growing zones 4 through 8. And I'm so excited to get this one in my garden. It gets 6 to 12 feet tall, and then it spreads about 4 to 5 feet wide. So it does take up a decent amount of space. They've got a photo of it right here, and somebody's growing it. It looks like just kind of as a ground cover almost, but you can also grow it as over a fence. Look at that. Isn't that so cool? It's non-invasive, which I think is so important for honeysuckle if you're wanting to grow honeysuckle. I've got honeysuckle called Halls japonica, and Halls japonica is definitely invasive in most of the United States. So if you're wanting honeysuckle and you're wanting something unique, this is definitely one to try to find. So with the Kintzley Ghost Honeysuckle, it's going to go right where that grass is. We're already playing shuffle in the garden, and I'm sure some of you guys are so annoyed by that. but I love to play shuffle in the garden. So I found a better spot for it. I found a better spot for the honeysuckle. I was originally gonna put the honeysuckle on the black fence over there. And I've just decided I really want this to be a front and center plant and not so much two of the grasses. So I think I'm gonna move this one grass. I have a trellis that's gonna go right there. We're going to pound it into the ground. It's gonna be extremely sturdy. And then I'm gonna put this grass over in that bed. So basically I'm flip-flopping where I wanted the Kintzley ghost to where I want the grass. We're just switching two plants, which really we're only moving one of them. So let me show you guys the trellis that I've got and what I'm thinking. This is the trellis that I'm gonna use. I picked this up at Lowe's, I think last year, and it's about 6 feet tall, maybe a little bit taller than 6 feet. And so we're going to put it in the ground right here where the grass is, move the grass. This will get placed kind of at an angle-ish. So when you walk up, it's kind of directly facing you and it's going to create a little more privacy right there. So this will just get moved over and I think it'll be so good. And then my plan is to plant the Kintzley Ghost honeysuckle behind it and let it grow through it. If I planted it in front of it, I would constantly be having to tie it up to this. If I plant it behind it, it'll grow through it and it'll create its own support. So let's go ahead and get the grass moved and then we can get the trellis in place. And then Brent had a great idea. We're gonna use PVC pipes because the legs on it they're long, but they're not long enough to give it all the support that it needs. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pound some PVC pipe into the ground and we're gonna go down really, really far. And then we will put the legs inside the PVC pipe and it's gonna create a ton of strength on it. And should we end up needing to do more strength on it, we'll go ahead and attach a string to it and then we will anchor it to the ground somehow. But this is basically going to be a freestanding trellis. So we're just going to go in with this 1-inch PVC pipe. So it's just 1 inch diameter and that will go in on the legs right there. So this is a 3-foot piece right here. It was originally 6 feet. We just bought a 6-foot piece and then we cut it in half. And then this is going to go into the ground 3 feet. So it's going to be extremely sturdy. So 3 feet into the ground. And then this is what the legs will go into and they'll probably go in about yay deep right there. And that's just going to make it so it can't fall over. Alrighty, I think that that is going to be so pretty right there, lend just even more privacy, and this is going to grow so incredibly fast. It's going to be so gorgeous right there. The pop of blue with the ginkgo, that's going to be a green and yellow, and then I'll have a bluish grass right there, and then we got the other grass transplanted back there. Glad I moved that. Honestly, it was kind of bothering me. I don't know why. I didn't love it. I didn't love grass, ginkgo grass. I thought I would really like it, but I didn't love it. So I am really glad that I moved it. And now we have a triangle. So we have 1, 2, 3. So they're planted in a triangle, which is kind of what you want to do in the garden. If you can, do it in trios like that. So that way everything kind of ties together. 3 different beds, but repetition throughout the garden. So I'm really happy with that. That should fill out quite quickly and reach the very top of that. I'm expecting it to be a very, very full and a very, very happy honeysuckle. It's gonna be so pretty. And then just little, like, you can pop around and you'll be able to see the fire pit behind it that's still smoking. We had a little fire this morning out here and so it's still smoking. But it's just so pretty. It's really coming together quite nicely. Well, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I'm gonna go get everything watered in now and then enjoy the rest of my day. It's so nice to get the side yard cleaned up. It's been on my to-do list. It's been one of those things that I've just kind of put off because getting things planted was more important, but it turns out I was able to get some things planted in that area. And then that honeysuckle. I'm going to assume it's probably gonna go into a little bit of shock because it is hot and it is in full sun. Came from Michigan where it wasn't as hot, and it also was sitting in our side yard where it was getting a little bit of shade. So I'm going to assume a little bit of shock, which is totally normal. So some die back, but then it will rebound. It's a honeysuckle. They are basically indestructible. And I do like that this one is non-invasive. So like I said, if you are in an area where honeysuckle takes over, but you still want honeysuckle and you want something a little bit unique, the Kintzley Ghost Honeysuckle I think is definitely a very unique one. And I cannot wait to show you guys what it does in my garden. I'm just looking at it and it's gonna be so beautiful by the fire pit. I can't wait for you guys to see it in a garden tour when it's actually put on some growth and maybe there's some good blooms on it. Anyways, thank you guys for visiting our garden, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.